Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best. Yes, it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne.
بالنسبة لما يجيك ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين.
Excuse me,
اللاعبين اللي في النص.
what is your VPN?
ماي في بي ان.
Yes.
ماي في بي ان سبايدر في بي ان.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد. معنا اليوم المشجع الأشهر في نيوكاسل هولي بليدز. الجميع في نيوكاسل يعرفها طبعا، هي المشجعة التي وقفت ضد البريمير ليج، وراح تحكي لنا اليوم قصتها مع رحلتها إلى لندن ومواجهة مركز الدوري الإنجليزي في لندن. We would like to welcome Holly Blades to Newcastle with وليد exclusively. Hope we have exclusive tonight. Welcome Holly.
Thanks for having us on, وليد. It's a pleasure.
طبعا راح نبدا كثير مع الاسئله اليوم، لكن راح نبدا ان شاء الله نبغى نسال. راح نتكلم عن الاستحواذ، طبعا بنحاول نترجم المقاطع المهمه ان شاء الله لاحقا. First thing Holly, I want to like to ask you, where were you when the takeover was just about to happen?
So initially I was at St James's Park. I was there pretty much all day from about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then ended up being there till about 11 at night. It was a big celebration, waiting for that announcement, and then not long before it went through, which was around 5 o'clock, I actually got in the car and drove up to Jesmond Dean House, which was where Amanda Stabley and Mia Dad were, waited around to see if we could see them in the flesh, because of how long we'd waited. I felt like it was never going to happen, so I wanted to see them with my own eyes to believe it, and I thought they weren't going to come out, and eventually I managed to bump into Mia Dad first, gave him a big hug, thanked him for taking us over, and then I met Amanda Stabley, which was a dream come true, because she knew who I was, which I never expected in a million years. Greeted her and just thanked her for her commitment to the football club, and then we headed off back to St James's Park to celebrate with the rest of the fans that the deal had finally gone through. It was a great night.
You've been in the celebration,
Yeah,
and the fans. How was it?
it was fantastic. I would honestly say it was probably one of the best nights of my life, and I don't say that lightly at all, because it wasn't just the fact that we've been taken over by these new owners who are ambitious and who have great plans for the football club going forward. It was also a celebration of freedom almost, because we had the shackles on with Mike Ashley. We were stagnated and we felt trapped under his regime. We couldn't progress under Mike Ashley's ownership, and we've been now freed from that toxic and poisonous regime that was, and it was about a positive and bright future going forward. So it was a celebration of many things, and one of the chants which we sung was "We've got our club back," and that's what it felt like. We have our football club back. It's always been the people of Newcastle's club, it's always been the fans' club, and now it's been returned to us after it was taken from us 14 years ago.
Let's watch some of the celebration that night and come back to you. Your You remember something from this video?
Yes,
You were there?
definitely. Yes, I was there. I was next to Sir Bobby Robson's statue, which I think you could see in that video. And it was absolutely fantastic. You had people just coming from nowhere. It was like there was no one there. Then all of a sudden you had thousands of people coming in from the town to St James's Park. It wasn't even a match day, and I would say we probably had 30,000 people there at Bobby Robson's statue. It was amazing. To celebrate the party, people of all ages and all Newcastle fans just united together and just celebrating the fact that we have our football club back and we've got a very exciting future ahead of us.
Actually, I was just, I wish to be there. I couldn't, so I celebrate in some sport cafe in Saudi Arabia. Holi, before we go to the, I have too many questions here, topics. Can you tell us, Saudi fans, who is Holi Bledz? Give us something about your background.
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, my name is Blيدز. I'm from Newcastle, grown up in the city my whole life, from the city. And just as like my family, I've supported the club pretty much my whole lifetime. All I've ever known is the Mike Ashley era. I'm 16, Mike Ashley in the club for 14 years. I was born in 2005, he bought it in 2007. So ultimately, I haven't had much success. I think the most enjoyable season of my lifetime was the 2012-13 season that Alan Pardew when we got into the Europa League. Followed the club through 2 relegations, some very, very hard times. But ultimately, now I'm at a point which is fantastic because in the lockdown it brought a new opportunity for everyone. This is when I started doing my broadcasting with Steve Bray on NUFC Matters podcast, which I know Waleed's been on as well. He does a lot of work with Steve on NUFC Matters. And then I've had some great opportunities off the back of that. I've done some interviews with various sports kind of networks, BBC Sports, Sky Sports, with Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, also done Talk Sport. It's been a fantastic experience, and now back into St James Park under new ownership and speaking about the club I love, I'm living my dream really.
Your ages? How old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
Okay, so you are 16.
Yeah.
I remember 16, the wild things I did that time. Maybe order some food, some delivery without knowing my parents. So let's go to London trip.
Yeah.
So I believe you went to London. Tell us about your experiment and how you feel that. How you feel when you went to London and to HQ, headquarters of the Premier League, and you're delivering that letter. Tell us about this experience.
So London was a very interesting experience, something that I never would imagine having the confidence to do a couple of years ago, but it worked fantastically well. Ultimately, I had a very long summer break because I just graduated high school, so I had a summer holiday, plenty of time on my hands and worrying about the football that I love, which is one of the main priorities of my life. All I wanted to see was a successful Newcastle United. I felt like for such a long time Newcastle didn't get a fair hearing by the Premier League. I think there was a lot of corruption going on, which most Newcastle fans will agree on that. It was such a drawn-out lengthy process over 18 months of waiting. It's never happened before, but it's a different circumstance when it comes to Newcastle. I saw wrongdoing and I want to do something about it because I thought the takeover doesn't go through. At least I can say that I've done my bit and I've tried to make a difference for the football club that I love. So me, as well as a few other guys, planned the protest in London to try and get some attention from the media to shed light on the situation and also to put pressure on the government, because we believe the government should intervene and of course Richard Masters, Gary Kaufman and the big boys in the Premier League. So we planned to go down to London. It took a lot of planning and a lot of hard work, I'm not going to lie, but when it went as in vented out frustrations at Gary Kaufman and a letter to Bob Stradley Down Street and also to Richard Masters at the Premier League headquarters just to ask for transparency on this situation.
We have just maybe some internet issue. Hopefully it's working. Just a minute. Maybe the internet. Yeah. So that's your experience. And people ask you about London. Some people ask you about London.
Yes.
Like, how do you do it?
Yeah. I think we get a lot of questions about it because it was a key point within the takeover process. Not necessarily that had to go through, but I think it was a collective effort of many different things. Of course, Keith Patterson with his work that he did for NCSL and support from the likes of Steve Brater and many fans and genuine frustrations. But London did play a part in that because it shed a lot of media attention on this situation so that we got the club that we deserved, because we felt as though any other Premier League club, in Manchester United, for example, this story would have went global, would have been all over the media worldwide, but because it was Newcastle, we weren't getting the attention that we deserved, and London brought that attention to us.
So I think you are proud, like me. We are proud now. Get the stick over. So all we did worked.
Definitely, I would do it again tomorrow. We got the same result. It felt like we were never going to result, of course, because it took so long. But the feeling that I had when I went through, I can't even describe, because it felt surreal, and it was really like a dream.
Yeah, some fans here saying maybe problem with please record the interview. I think we are right. Yeah. So maybe some people get it, some people not. Anyway, so I want to ask you now. Let's talk about our now issue right now.
Okay.
We finish about takeover now. We just want to, because we waited too long time for this. So let's talk now about our issue now, and hopefully the biggest issue, the managerial. We solved it yesterday with Eddie Howe. So what do you thought of Eddie Howe? And do you think is he the right manager now, or maybe you would want someone else to manage Newcastle?
Some fans were a little bit frustrated with the appointment of Eddie Howe because it felt like it was a step down from the names we previously mentioned to, the likes of Unai Emery. However, from my perspective, I think Eddie Howe is a very good appointment because he has a lot of Premier League experience with Bournemouth, for example. Of course, he did eventually, unfortunately, take Bournemouth down, but he did get them from League One all the way up to the Premier League and then had a good spell with them in the Premier League. So that is definitely good work, which shouldn't go unrecognised whatsoever. But I think it's important that the position we find ourselves in currently is that we're 19th in the league in the bottom three, 6 points adrift, and we need to get ourselves out of that position as soon as possible. So the Premier League experience that he has, also the experience that he has in the bottom of the league and in the relegation zone, will definitely help us. Not to mention the fact that he knows some of the players. He knows Callum Wilson, he knows Ryan Fraser, Matt Ritchie, who are all senior players at the football club. So that will, of course, help us out as well. He's rumoured to have a 2.5-year contract, which I think is around the right length. It gives him the end of this season, then another 2 years, which is the right amount of time to get us out of the relegation zone and then stabilise us in a comfortable position within the league. So I think for the short term, it's a fantastic appointment. I'll certainly be behind him, and I think maybe in a couple of years you can go on to target a high profile manager, but for here and now I think it's perfect.
Okay, Holi, I want to ask you this. What if Everton lost on Sunday and he gets sacked? So I noticed that Rafa result after the takeover is bad, but if he gets sacked, what do you think? And we get him over Eddie Howe? خلاص, Eddie Howe now, and we should focus with Eddie Howe.
Well, Eddie Howe hasn't officially been confirmed yet by the club, so until that happens, nothing's set in stone, nothing's certain. If Rafa was to get sacked before Eddie Howe's made official, then I wouldn't be surprised if we went for Rafa, because I think he is one of the ideal appointments from the owner's perspective. I think they're a big fan of Rafa, and I think they've got a lot of trust and faith in Rafa Benitez. I think that would be one of their dream managers to appoint. However, I don't think he's going to get sacked soon enough, and I think Eddie Howe will be confirmed by then, in which case we need to try and forget about Rafa, although I'm his biggest fan, and I'm not going to hide that, but I will have to move on, get behind Eddie Howe, and then try and get the results that we need, because we're in a worrying position currently.
Okay, and before we go to Brighton game tomorrow, we'd like to ask about Bournemouth connection. Eddie Howe and Graham Jones was in Bournemouth, and we have Fraser as well and Wilson. So I think we have too much from Bournemouth. So what you can tell us about? your opinion on that?
Yeah, well, definitely we're starting to look a bit like a second Bournemouth. We're just taking all of their ex-players, ex-manager, ex-coaches and bringing them to Newcastle. Just hopefully we don't have the same fate as Bournemouth, because they obviously ended up in the Championship. So we're going to try and avoid that. But I think that they're all good people we are at the club. Of course, Callum Wilson's been an excellent striker for us. We've got him for a decent price, and he's kept us up for the past couple of seasons. He's the only one that's been scoring goals. Ryan Fraser, I'm not so convinced on. I don't think he's fantastic, to be honest.
Why do you make him play so far? I noticed Graeme Jones play him a lot now.
Yeah, Graeme Jones has played a lot more than Steve Bruce. I think there's a few players within that side that Graeme Jones doesn't rate, but not to mention the fact that within the midfield, kind of, we are lacking. We don't really have a lot of talent in the midfield. And I can understand why he brings him in, because when he comes in off the bench, he does make an impact to that game. He does give us a lift. But personally, he's not a favourite of mine, because I think he's very slow. I don't think he has a good attitude, and I just don't rate him in the Newcastle team, to be honest with you. I think probably when Eddie Howe comes in, I think we'll see Ryan Fraser probably go back to the bench, because I really do think he's past it now. And of course, the other ex-Bournemouth player that we have is Matt Ritchie, who's been at the club for a long, long time. He is a key asset to the club. He adds a lot to our game because he's got a fantastic attitude. He's constantly on the players' backs. He's like an unofficial captain almost. He's constantly saying, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, give me instructions out to the players. He's always trying. Yes, he's not the most technically gifted player, he's not the fastest, he has got the most skill and ability, but he does have a fantastic attitude and makes a difference on that pitch, as well as getting a lot of assists and winning a lot of tackles, which is great. Graeme Jones, the other person from Bournemouth, from my perspective, I thought it was fantastic when he came in from Bournemouth initially. We started winning games, our fortunes changed, and we started climbing the league. I think he did save us that season, but I've seen some worrying stuff from Graeme Jones this season. Of course, Steve Bruce got sacked, and then we saw Graeme Jones. The tactics didn't really change. It was like Steve Bruce was still here. So then you think it was Graeme Jones doing the tactical work and not Steve Bruce, which is a massive work from my perspective, because we've had a horrendous start of the season. So Graeme Jones, I think he will stay here with Eddie Howe, to be honest, but I'm not overly pleased about that. I'd be happy to move him on. But yes, definitely, I think we've got a big Bournemouth history now, and hopefully all those players can come and gel together now, and that can give us a little bit of hope and be a benefit for us.
What do you think now, Eddie Howe and Jones speaking now? Maybe they setting the plan for tomorrow? They're talking the formation, what should be?
Well, in my honest opinion, I don't think that Eddie Howe's going to be in the dugout for the Brighton game. I think we're very, very close now to that Brighton game. It's tomorrow, and he hasn't been announced yet, and it's not looking like anything's moving quickly. It's not even in Tyneside, I don't believe, so it's not really very probable that he'll be here. I'd love to see him here, because I think it's important that we have a proper manager in that dugout rather than Graeme Jones, but I don't think he'll be confirmed in time to have Eddie Howe there. So I think we'll probably see Graeme Jones, who'll probably play a 5-4-1. The reason I think he'll play that is because we're away from home, we concede a lot of goals, and we need to play defensively. But I'd love to see us go for a 4-4-2, more attacking, plenty of legs in the midfield, and someone to help Callum Wilson out, because in that last game against Chelsea, I'm sure you saw it as well, I believe that Callum Wilson was very, very isolated, and it was difficult for him to get in the right positions to attack and score goals for Newcastle.
So you think now it's they announced the news, but still not official from the club that Eddie Howe is the manager?
Yeah, it's still not official yet. Yeah.
So they didn't say that. Why the announcement now? You think happened? The announcement of Eddie Howe before the game one day.
I would hope that it would happen, but I don't think it's realistic, because I think he needs to be in Newcastle. He needs to have went to the training ground, met the players before that happens, and I don't believe that he's done that yet. So I think we're probably going to have to wait another week before Eddie Howe's appointed. But I think he'll come in before a week, but I think that, you know, it'll be about a week's time before the next game before he's in that dugout. I think we should take charge of Brighton.
Really? So tomorrow, Brighton game, big game. Expecting too much from it. Hopefully things will change in our direction from tomorrow. And I can see here some people expect to get defeat. So what's your expectation? What do you expect for this game? How do you think you're gonna play? Even if Graeme Jones, he's the one. Graeme Jones will be the manager. What do you expect to see tomorrow and change from Tuesday game?
I think he's definitely going to have to change the lineup quite a bit, because he stuck with the same lineup that he had for Palace for the Chelsea game, and it clearly didn't work. We got beat 3-0, albeit Chelsea's a very, very good side. Brighton isn't so good, but we still haven't won a game so far this season. We need a minimum of a point out of that game, which I think is still a big ask for this side. 3 points realistically would probably be best, because when you come up to December, we have a lot of fixtures that are very, very difficult. We play a lot of the big six teams, and a lot of teams which have a lot of talent and are far, far better than Newcastle on paper at the moment. So we need to get 3 points here. So do I think that'll happen? No, I'm expecting defeat. I'm in a very negative mindset as a Newcastle fan right now, because I'm not seeing anything from the lads on that pitch. They'll probably get beat 2-1. I don't think it'll be a high like it was at the Chelsea game. I think it'll be difficult. I think we'll play very defensively, try and keep the score down. But ultimately, I think it's going to be hard to take down Brighton's defence and get the likes of Callum Wilson and whoever's been up top with him, DSM, Almiron, into those attacking roles. I think it's going to be difficult for us.
You are going to the game tomorrow.
Yes.
So you have courage to go to the game tomorrow, and you expect hopefully to get win.
I would love a win, but I don't expect to win. I think we'll get beat 2-1.
Yeah, this is what actually makes me Newcastle fan tremendously trouble all the way. Even they believe that we are maybe not get something.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's been the whole of my life supporting Newcastle, because before I was born, it was fantastic. We had the Bobby Bogdan days, the Keegan days, challenging the top end of the table, competing in the league, Europa League, title even with Manchester United. But I was born this season, so I was the bad luck charm, because I might actually bought the club 2 years later, and it's been a downward slope ever since then. I go to every game, home and away, every week. Most people know that who follow me on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, people watching me on. And I very rarely expect us to get anything, but I love the club and I'll be there regardless. And you always think the one game I don't go to will be the game that we're winning, and I'll kick myself, so I've got to be there. In a way, it's always a fantastic day as well, regardless of the result.
Yeah, and here Masoud from Saudi Arabia saying good time, good evening, and Newcastle, they are famous Newcastle fans that they are loyalty regardless.
Yeah,
Reality.
We've definitely got to be down to earth, because I think when you've been through what we've been through, you can't let yourself get too carried away. I think maybe in a few years, once we start investing a lot of money and climbing the league, then we can start to get carried away and thinking about winning stuff. But for now, we need to stay grounded and worry about our relegation battle, because let's be real, you look at the league and we're not in a good position.
Abud says here the team needs good defense and mid defense, and not big names. So maybe one of the topics ahead. So, but what do you think now we need in January transfer window? Players, position. What do we need now in such short time?
Well, January is going to be a key point of the season. I think that'll decide our fate and whether we stay up or go down. Unfortunately, I'm worrying that it might be too late by that point. I hope so, Ali. I love your positivity, but I'm not as positive as you are. But in January, I think we need to be very clever with our signings. I think we probably need a minimum of 5 or 6 players, which sounds like a lot. But when you look at that side, you're weak in so many positions. The only place that we're okay in is the attack. But the midfield and the defence is struggling massively. And even the goalkeeper situation, I originally thought very strongly. I think Carl Darlow now. Darlow and Woodman have definitely been not playing their best football. So I think probably going to need to strengthen in that position eventually. I think we need to prioritise getting in probably a centre back. Probably a full back as well. The right and the left back positions are both struggling, but I think left back probably we need to prioritise central midfield, and then the second title back for Callum Wilson. We saw we've got that injury to Callum Wilson that we weren't scoring goals, so we need someone there because he does get a lot of injuries. Let's be honest, he's a fantastic striker for us, but he does get a lot of injuries. So in the attack, I would probably go for Usman Dembele. I know he's injury prone, but I think he's expensive as well. He's 45 million, but I think that's why we should invest the cash, because the strikers are also the most expensive players and the most key players, because they're not to get the goals. But I think it'd be a good player for us. We can't go out and sign massive name players because they want to come into clubs that are already in the Champions League, that are already competing, and we're not doing that yet. So we need to try and be realistic. I think in midfield, it would be good for Manchester United. We can get him for about 20 million. He's not getting a lot of game time at Man U. He's not playing his best football. I think he's doing really well in this side. He's starting every game, which gives him massive confidence, and I think he'll be up for that. And nurse for centre back, I think Connor would be a fantastic option for us. They are very, very well involved, and I think that he'd be a good captain as well. For me, Jamal Lascelles is a good captain. I don't know if you agree with that, Albany, but I think struggles a lot. I think he hasn't been taking charge of the defence or the team in general. I think he hasn't been vocal enough. When you're in a position where you are now, you're wanting coaches to come and say, listen, we need to keep us out, or we're going to be in a bad position. And he's not doing that, so I think Connor would be a really good captain to bring in as well, and I'd be giving him that instantly as soon as he signs the club, because Jamal Lascelles has had a couple of seasons to prove himself now, and he hasn't been good.
That was interesting choices. What if I ask to add one more? Who you would be signed regarding Cody and Emily? Yeah, I think who's number 4?
Number 4, I'd probably go Tarkowski from Burnley, who's on free in the defence as well. Because I think defence, we need to strengthen it massively. We don't just need one defender, we need a couple at least. I think on a free, Tarkowski would be a really good option, and I think he's experienced in the Premier League and definitely would be there to get stuck in the relegation battle.
Brilliant. Our friend Dave says, I think Jones would have a phone to Howie to discuss thoughts and tactics, but new manager left would see us 1-0.
Yeah, I think a new manager coming in for Brighton would probably see us have that bit of confidence boost and a bit of a lift. I just can't see it happening, unfortunately, Dave, but I hope I'm wrong.
Tom Dixon says 5 at the back.
Yeah, I think they would stay 5 back. I don't want to.
Some advice maybe from Eddie Howe to Jimmy Jones?
I think even Eddie Howe might do that. I mean, I don't think it'd be a good thing to do, but I think because you can't come in and just change the tactics straight away, I think it'd be a gradual process. Because he hasn't had a chance to meet the squad yet and see what players suit what positions and which players should be in the team, I think you have to stick with what Wade Jones has been doing and stick with that eye at the back. Because it's so defensive and so boring to watch.
Alright, so let's take a break a little bit. Standing table in the Premier League. Actually, I forget to download. Let's how to work quickly. Now it's an internet issue. Doesn't need to upload taking program. Anyway, so what do you think of Premier League now? Let's talk about the title race. Who you see get the title this?
Well, Chelsea's currently top of the league. We give them a bit of a boost with that, letting them score 3 goals past us last Saturday, which I wasn't impressed with. I think Chelsea's definitely got a very good chance at winning the league. I think their side is very good. A side that Frank Lampard initially built, and then the new manager came on, it's expanded on that. And we've got a lot of talent in a lot of positions. I think they'll certainly be up there. I think it'll probably end up going down to a title race between Chelsea and Man City. I wouldn't be surprised if Man City ended up just picking them and getting that title, because I think Man City's proven themselves, have proven what is the talent all over the pitch, on the bench. It's a world class Man City really are. So probably Man City will end up winning, but I think Chelsea definitely gets
Yeah, but why I think it's going to be Man City. The Man City have the long run, that's the horse race.
Yeah.
They have what to take for the whole season.
I think so, yeah. And I think Pep Guardiola's a fantastic manager as well. A proven winner. I think he will probably have his sights on trying to eventually get that Champions League trophy. I mean, he's got enough Premier League trophies now, but I think ultimately they're just fantastic. And I mean, my favourite Premier League player for this Man City is Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's excellent. That would be my dream signing for Newcastle. I know he's old and he probably won't fit into this side, but I'd bring him in anyway because I just love him. I think he's so talented. But yeah, I think basically what you'll see happen is in the second half of the season, you'll probably see Chelsea start to drop off a little bit. I still think we'll finish in the Champions League. I think Man City will then go on to do what they always do, show their class and run the title race.
So that's the title race.
Oh my god.
Who's going to be relegated? For me, not Newcastle. But let's see how it is.
The bottom 3, I think Norwich is definitely nailed on top of that. I think they're already pretty much down. They're very, very good. Although, would I be surprised if Norwich got a point out plus? No, I wouldn't be surprised. We did beat them 3-0 in the pre-season friendly, though, which is at least a bit of a boost. I think Norwich will go down. I think the second team that will go down, I think probably Brentford. Yeah, I think to see them really drop off.
Actually, I didn't catch last result.
Yeah, they're not doing bad, but I just have a feeling that Brentford will drop off a little bit. It's probably a bit of a weird decision compared to what some people probably think. But I think Brentford, you might see them drop off, or even Burnley. I think Burnley's struggled this year. Every year they struggle and they manage to get out with Sean Dyche, who I think is a fantastic manager for Burnley. I think they could be well in it, but I think I hate to see it, but I might be new. And I'm not too worried about relegation for the first time in a long time, because I think these new owners have the power, the spending power to get us straight back up to the Premier League in a year in the Championship. I'm not going to cry about it. It's under Ashley Adams because I want to come back. But it's not the end of the world if we go down. I hate to see it. I'd love to see things turn around, but I think this squad's far too poor. And I think until January, we're not going to get the results. And by that point, these things are too late.
Going through some of
Yeah, see, Bruce didn't get us relegated. I don't think now. What we have now, the new owners, and now signing players, good players in January. So all this good.
It's all the results up until January, though.
We still, I think we just finished maybe the first quarter, 3 quarters of the game, and I can guarantee that second half, the new players will gonna be have that points.
I hope so.
So yeah, now maybe struggling for Christmas time for January, and hopefully from tomorrow we'll get at least 1 point.
Hopefully,
Right.
all good luck, Charles.
No, I didn't say that. You tell me that it's just a game. I say no matter how sharp I am, I'm not thinking it's just a game. But
Yeah, the Chelsea game was awesome.
all right, so brilliant, Holly. So we're going to throw comments, but something I would like to know you're seeing in it, the sponsorship issues. What recent you know about? You know, the Premier League said something about sponsor issues. And the AT&T. What happened last week? I was
So basically, the Premier League clubs had a meeting. 18 Premier League clubs, Man City excluded, they didn't obviously on it. But the other 18 Premier League clubs came together, had a meeting, and had a vote basically to ban Newcastle from using internal sponsorship. So that would be a sponsor linked to the public investment fund of Saudi Arabia. So any kind of businesses that they have shares in or things like that wouldn't be allowed to sponsor Newcastle. It's only a couple of months ban. So after that, then we would be allowed to do that. I think they'll probably try and bring in a rule with the Premier League and the FA to try and make that a long-term thing. Like, it's very hypocritical. You look at Leicester City, they're sponsored by King Power, going on their shirts, their stadium's called the King Power Stadium, and that's their owner's sponsorship. It's very hypocritical because they're one of the teams that's voted against it, which makes no sense. I'll get away with it because, again, it's anti-competitive behaviour. I think we'll take them to court to try to get away with it long-term, and we'll win that case because we've seen anti-competitive behaviour from the Premier League. How long now? Once LFPs began, it's just the same behaviour. I think by now they've learned their lesson. It's a case of throwing the toys out of the pram because they're not going to take what was went through, but they need to get over it because it's up now. And there's nothing that they can do about it. So I think for a long time, really should affect us because we won't be allowed to get away with it.
the laws take us the takeover and take us the sponsorship. The laws.
Yeah, obviously they ended up the takeover went through because it was anti-competitive, not being the same sponsorship. It's more anti-competitive behaviour. Cartel-like behaviour again from the 60s.
Great. I have 2 questions, but let's have many comments here. Are you happy with how our manager?
Yeah, obviously I already touched on that earlier, but yeah, I think for the short term it's a fantastic appointment. In the long term, I think you'll want to get a manager that's more ambitious, but I think the 2.5-year contract for Eddie Howe is sensible.
Okay. Hello, sorry, we struggle. I think now the internet is okay. So your results, what do you expect tomorrow?
2-1 Brighton.
Are they great this season? They are great. Doing great this season.
Yeah, we have a season. I think everyone's having a great season compared to us, so we haven't won a game.
Okay, we speak this earlier, but Nora from Saudi Arabia, she said afternoon, tell us about your trip to London and how it feels to meet Amanda.
So London, obviously I touched on that earlier as well. It was a great experience. A day that was beyond my wildest dreams. The support we had from the fans of Newcastle was brilliant. Both fan supporters from back home in Newcastle, and also the 250, 300 fans that travelled down. It was a great, great day. Made our voices heard and got our point across. I'm very glad that I did that. Now we got the result that we wanted in the end. They put a lot of pressure on the relevant people. That pressure needed putting on to. Meeting Amanda was fantastic. That's something I'll never ever forget. The photos and everything with our hug, and just the fact that I said before she knew who I was, I couldn't read it, because I just say myself, I'm just the last of Newcastle. I've lived here my whole life. I'm just a fan. And Amanda came over and knew who I was, and just meeting her and seeing it with my own eyes, it really felt like, wow, we've actually been taken over.
After all the waiting.
Yeah, after all the waiting. It was a torturous process, I'm not going to lie. It's really bad for the mental health of a lot of Newcastle fans. Seeing Amanda was brilliant. She was absolutely fantastic. She filled every fan that was there. There wasn't many of us, but she filled us all with a great deal of confidence, talking about her ambitions. Trying to put her new title within 5 to 10 years is... It's hard to comprehend, to be honest. I can't imagine Newcastle winning anything. It's never ever happened in my lifetime or my parents' lifetime.
You know, sometimes I wake up and I remind myself, I think of what's happened.
Yeah.
I think of what's happened. Still, my mind is still waiting. They're waiting.
I know, I do the same. It's hard to remember, isn't it? And I just go back to the videos from the 7th of October with all the big celebrations at James Park. I'm saying,
and I've been here since a week, and sometimes a week I wake up here. You are Newcastle.
I know, it's crazy. I can't believe you finally here.
Abdul Hamid from Saudi asking, if you have information, tell us. Not can go to other questions. When the contract with Mike Ashley, previous owner, done with Newcastle, I think the reason it's a question, we still find sport life maybe some advertising. I think still Mike Ashley still in the club somehow.
No, Mike Ashley's got no connection to the club at all. He's told that the fund's being transferred. Mike Ashley's gone. He's got no say in Newcastle whatsoever.
What about sports direct? What's the deal?
The sports direct sponsorship. So it was in the contract with Amanda that advertisement has to stay up until at least the end of the season. But that's nothing to do with Mike Ashley still having control of the club. That was just simply a contract that Amanda had to agree to, and it's not ideal. I hate it actually, because sports direct, it might seem like it's only a sports brand, but for us, because there's so many problems over the years, look at changing the name to St James's Park to Sports Direct Arena. It's a brand that's just poisonous, really. It's caused so many problems for the city and the football club. It's had a lot of negativity directed towards it. And I think when that eventually gets taken down at the end of the season, then it will, in a mental way, it'll make us feel like it's finally gone, because it'll be a fresh clean stadium. We haven't seen it. It's St James's Park that hasn't had that red and blue tack everywhere for years. Honestly, sometimes I thought the change of the club colours from black and white to red and blue, it was that bad, because it's just everywhere. It's a mess. But yeah, it's nothing to do with like actually having control. It's just an agreement until the end of the season, then it'll be on.
جواب السؤال كابتن حميد انه عقد سبورت دايركت في نهايه الموسم. فنهايه الموسم اعتقد خلاص كل شيء له علاقه بالتاشيره راح ينتهي. We're still speaking about 5 at the back. So if you are the coach, how you would play this?
Formation.
Yeah, formation.
4-4-2. I think it's a classic. I don't think it's played under all of our good Evas, the Keegan Evas, played 4-4-2. I think it's solid. You've got enough defenders at the back. Flat back four in the midfield. It's important to have that strength in midfield, because sometimes the defence are lacking. You need a lot of support in the midfield, and then the 2 up top, because I hate playing a 1 up top and isolated striker. You don't give them the chances, you don't get the assists, and ultimately you don't score the goals. So I think probably playing ASM and Callum Wilson up top is a really good partnership. That's probably my ideal partnership, and I think that's what we should go for.
Brain says, hello both, enjoy your first away game at Waleed. You will never forget. Safe journey to everyone. So about the game, about the journey. Let's long journey to Brighton.
It's a long journey. I've done it before on the bus. It'll be a bit of a shock to the system for you. I'd imagine a nice 6 AM start from St James's Park whilst we're travelling down together. But you can't beat the way it is. The way it is are way better than the games.
Because
the atmosphere, because it's a lot less fans going to the away games, and the fans that go to the away games are the ones that are like die-hard Newcastle committed fans, because you're not going to travel that length, are you, if you're not that bothered about it? It's easy to get out your back door and travel across the border to St James's Park, travel at the other end of the country, you've got to love the club. So the atmosphere's better, the singing, regardless of the result, it's always upbeat and positive, and it's just a great day. It's always good banter, good crack between the fans, and honestly, you'll love it. It's a long journey, but you'll never forget your first away day.
Yeah, I can imagine it already. Yeah. Interesting question from Dom Dixon. He says, who Eddie Howe wants in the January window? Eddie Howe choice to be another Bournemouth player?
I hope not. We'll just be taking their team at this point. No idea who Eddie Howe will appoint. I think it depends on how much budget we get. I think it'll be around 100 million. We'll get in January, I believe, and I think we're going to need that. Honestly, we need some investment. You're not going to sign £150 million player probably, because we're going to need to sign quite a few. I think we'll need a few loans. Definitely, we'll look in the loan market. I think 2 or 3 loans is sensible. Who anyhow will want, I have no idea. We'll have to just wait and see, and it'll be interesting.
Actually, I didn't eat yet fish and chips because I'm not a fish fan.
Yeah.
But Dave Legacy said it's great.
I love fish and chips.
So I have to try before. Yeah.
We'll get it with curry sauce though as well and gravy.
No, I'm not curry fan.
Yeah.
Salim says, is Eddie Howe been signed a contract or not yet?
It's not official yet. We believe that there's been an agreement made, but until the pen's on paper and the club have announced it, then nothing's official.
Steve says 4-4-2, but drop the sale.
I agree. I think he's spot on. I think that's exactly the formation we need here. Lascelles is probably our worst centre back, and Kieran Clark's had an horrendous season.
Yeah, this is Mohammed Asiri, my friend. Said Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. Greeting in Saudi Arabia. Said, yeah, he saying hi, Wally. That's, you know, that you're famous in Saudi Arabia. He said, hi, Wally. Should Fabian Schär play tomorrow?
Yes, 100%. I'm so disappointed that Fabian Schär hasn't been getting that chance, because I think he's probably one of our best centre backs. He hasn't really had that chance. He broke into the side and he was scoring for fun. He's a centre half and he's scoring for fun. It's fantastic. I mean, he got that goal against Burnley when he first signed for us in that first season of the Benitez. He scored from the halfway line. It was just fantastic. He was like, honestly, he was just, I was blown away by the talent that he had. And then he never really got that chance under Steve Bruce, but I think he definitely needs to come back into the side. I don't think Graham Jones rates him, but I think he'll definitely get that chance with Eddie Howe. And ultimately, like we mentioned, Clark and Lascelles have been absolutely rubbish, so Fabian Schär definitely needs to be playing.
Brilliant. Your smiles says it all. Say by Brian Johnson. What formation? Okay, we're talking about that. This our friend from Saudi Arabia, Ahmed, he says, you want Mohamed Salah, not Salah.
Oh, I love Mo Salah. I think he's fantastic. He's excellent. He's one of the best in the world. Never mind just the Premier League, but I don't think he's going to be signing for us 19th in the league. Newcastle fighting relegation at the moment. I don't think he'll leave Liverpool for that.
Who knows, maybe in the near future.
Maybe.
All right, so I have a couple of questions here. What do you think of when you see women team visit Saudi Arabia and play with Saudi female stars? I want to tell you, you know, I want to ask you about this idea and maybe your message to Saudi Arabia fans, either as a player or supporter, to come to Newcastle and maybe play games and come to Newcastle to St James's Park. Generally,
yeah. So the women's team is definitely an exciting prospect going forward. Amanda's already stated that she wants to invest a lot in the women's team, make it more challenging, successful, try and get qualified for the Women's Super League, which is like the top league of women's football in the UK. And I think that because she is a female herself and she's got a big voice in the football club, I think she's a fantastic representation of women in football. And I think that she will have the priorities of obviously the women's football team and female fans as well. So I think definitely the women's team will be exciting, and if there's any other women players, then why not sign for Newcastle? I think it'll be good going forward in the future. And also fans, I would encourage anyone from Saudi Arabia, any women, any men, anyone to come and visit the city to experience what it's like. We're very welcome into the Saudi people. We love everyone from your country. We love Waleed. He's brilliant. Made a massive impression in Newcastle. I said he's like a local celebrity now. Yeah, but it's been brilliant, and I think definitely get yourself along to the game. It's so fantastic. It's a very inclusive environment. Anyone's welcome at the Newcastle games, and I'm sure you enjoyed your first game. It's a great atmosphere and something to be a part of, isn't it, Waleed?
Actually, yeah, I'm having a great time, and I can't. My phone is hanging from all the messages.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, maybe it's the issue what we have now. Brilliant, Hori. Okay, so what do you think of this game? It's PL, because this is one of my idea, and we have a journalist. He's #1 journalist regarding sport, female. His name is Ryan. Mr. Ryan Al-Jilani, and he's happy for this idea. We know that Newcastle team will maybe come pre-season next year. But what about we can do something now? So maybe the women team in Newcastle start this already. Have a trip to Saudi Arabia and play with Saudi Women League stars.
I think that'd be a great idea. I think for pre-season friendlies it would be good, and also maybe you could try and get like a new mini competition between the Women's Super League when you qualify for that, and obviously the Saudi Arabian Women's League. I think that could be a good little competition, or like a cup even. Something definitely is great ideas going forward. And I think the first team as well will definitely be making the trip to Saudi Arabia for some friendlies in the pre-season. Obviously it's a while off yet, but I'd love to come across to Saudi Arabia to see the friendlies. I'm not sure how realistic that is. It's a long fight and it'll cost a lot of money, but I would love to do it. I think it'll be a great experience.
Actually, this is my last question. Any plans to visit Saudi Arabia, Holi? Any plans?
Well, none set in stone at the moment, because obviously it's a very long journey, which I commend you for making it. It'll cost a lot of money, but definitely if I get the opportunity at some point in the future, I'd love to come, especially if Newcastle have a friendly there. And I think that would be good to meet the fans from Saudi Arabia and the Newcastle fans to come across and watch that friendly together.
Yeah, hopefully to have you there. And pre-season, I think pre-season Newcastle will come to Saudi Arabia.
Probably. I think it'll be difficult for the players to play because it'll be so hot. They're not used to it. It's always raining in Newcastle.
No, at night it's good weather.
Yeah.
As well. Okay, before I go to my question here, okay, we have here a couple of questions. Salim, this is very long question. Very long. Let's take another one show. So yeah, so I'm sorry for this. Okay, Muhammad says, what Holi players think of Eddie Howe? Do you think in Holi you expecting Eddie Howe save us from relegation battle?
I would certainly like to think so. I just hope that he can get the best out of the current team and get the results before Christmas. I think that is my biggest concern about Eddie Howe, but I think if he manages to do that and then we sign the right players in January, then I think Eddie Howe's more than capable of keeping us up in the Premier League. And then I think he can probably stabilise us in and around the mid-table for the next couple of seasons. And I think the best part about Eddie Howe is I think he'll lay solid foundations for a more successful manager that's got experience winning things and challenging to come in and build from what Eddie Howe's already got there, you know.
What do you think Newcastle will finish the season?
If I'm going to be positive,
Yeah,
I'll say 15.
15.
Yeah.
And if you are not positive,
If I'm not positive, I would say 19.
no way. We are not going to be relegated. Trust me that. Al-Waleed, what's this for me? What has made you smile the most about England? That's everything, actually. Time rich, everything. St. James Park, of course, and the hospitality of the fans.
Can you see St. James's Park on the camera?
Yeah,
Do you see it? Oh, that's good.
at the corner. And the funny thing, sometimes when I go in place, I just enter sometimes someone, no, hi, it's for me.
No,
Everyone
knows you here.
Yeah, it's weird, I didn't know. I'm not known even in Saudi Arabia, so it's weird
Yeah.
feeling,
Do you enjoy it though?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just read that owners are putting relegation clause. Please help me with English. Clause in the contract of Howie, and that's he might have reservation regarding the clause.
Basically, a clause is like terms and conditions in the contract.
Ah,
So I would
yeah.
imagine that if we were relegated, then he doesn't have the right to stay on for the full time.
So what do you think of this?
I think that's a very, very smart move from the new owners. I think it's certainly something that I would do. Eddie Howe, obviously, apparently he's a little bit hesitant and now signing the contract. That could be an issue, but honestly, if he's not happy to sign that contract, then I'd look elsewhere, because I think you can't afford to pay another manager $3 million or whatever to get him sacked like we did to Steve Bruce. If he gets us relegated, why are we rewarding managers for bad work?
Exactly. What's the most favorite place here? Actually, I like Nine Bar, which is Alan Shearer Bar, or restaurant, sometimes called restaurant bar. Let's keep the place Alan Shearer place. They said it's number 9. There is a story that Mike Ashley said, but they should now change the title up front of the shop. Please put it back Alan Shearer place. I love that place because it's in St. James Park, and when I get inside, I get special treatment. So that's fine.
Do you like the strawberry across the road?
Yes, I've been there as well. Yes, strawberries also, of course. Brilliant place. He said we must get defense strengthening, of course. Okay, how do you think beautiful Holi in future? Okay, how you expect Newcastle in future?
In the future, I think the short term, it's going to be relatively the same. I think, we'll probably be in the bottom half of the league or in mid-table for a couple of seasons, because we need to stabilise ourselves. We're in a very uncertain position because there's no foundations there. There's nothing there. Mike Ashley had nothing in place. So we need to build from scratch, really. And that goes to the infrastructure, the training ground, the facilities, the stadium, first team, academy, everything needs redone, basically. I think in 5 to 10 years, that's when we'll start to push on in the league, and I think we'll certainly have cup runs. FA Cup probably will target try and win that, and I think 10 years you'll probably look at us Champions League football as a regular thing, winning the league. But it's a long process. I think nothing's going to happen overnight. We need to be patient, and we're going to be on a journey. And it's a journey that will be very, very enjoyable, and that I feel have been there from the beginning.
I want to ask you, Holi, about the new stadium ideas. Do you support we have the new stadium? Even we get more fans, maybe 100K?
Never. Because you look at the history, something I'm very passionate about is the history of Newcastle United Football Club, and I'm very keen for that to stay the same. I don't want it to change. The club we were formed in 1892. I'm not the best at maths. 130 years old. I don't know. Something like that. I think maybe 129. From 1892. We've always played on the same plot of land with the same stadium. We've never had a new stadium. It's always been St. James's Park. And that's the stadium that my grandparents have visited, my great-grandparents, my parents. It's part of the history of Newcastle, and I think we're trying to get rid of that. I think expanding the stadium, renovating the stadium, 100% would be it'd be difficult. It would actually cost more money to expand the current stadium than to build a new one. But I would rather them do that. I would rather put the money in. It is a possibility, and I think that's what they should go for, because moving the stadium out of the city centre and changing the history, I think would be a crime. I'd be certainly against it, and I wouldn't be happy at all.
Even small sponsorship fees and money.
I'd never ever sacrifice St. James's Park. I'll be protesting against that 100%. I would tie myself down and be like, don't knock it down, I can't cope with it. But as well, you see it's right in the heart of the city. It's right in the city centre. We're one of the only teams in the world that has a city centre stadium. It's the beauty of it. It brings a lot of money into Newcastle as a city as well. We're not a wealthy city. We struggle. We've got a lot of poverty in the city. And the fact that on a match day we bring so much more revenue in the city because there's so many bars and restaurants in and around the stadium, to lose that money would have devastating effects in the city.
That's brilliant. And hopefully we will have some solution regarding the stadium.
Yes.
Hopefully.
I think we'll definitely build on the East Stand if you incorporate the university behind it. And I think we could probably get it to I can't remember, I think it was 80,000. I think we could have managed to get it to, which is big enough. It would be the biggest in the Premier League.
Okay, before we go to last question for Holi, I just want to advertise we are initiating Saudi supporter for Newcastle Club officially. This is going to be our sign, our logo, and طبعا راح ننشئ شأن ان شاء الله رابطة مشجعين نيوكاسل في السعودية. طبعا نتمنى تدعمون الحساب، وان شاء الله راح نقوم بافكار متعددة، وراح نسهل الخدمات لجميع المشجعين نيوكاسل اللي راح يجون إن شاء الله مدينة نيوكاسل، من التذاكر إلى الفنادق إلى كل هذه الأمور. أي شيء إن شاء الله راح يوقف في يعني لو يكون صعب إدارته أو صعب حله إن شاء الله راح إن شاء الله المجموعة اللي يتعامل معها إن شاء الله راح تحل هذه الأمور بكل بساطة إن شاء الله. To end up our lovely interview, Holly, just your message to Saudi and Newcastle.
Firstly, thanks for all the support from all of the people in Saudi Arabia that you've shown us across this whole process, especially since the takeovers went through. And of course, a big thanks to the consortium, PIF in particular, for sticking by us throughout this process. It's been difficult, tested a lot of people's patience, but the commitment that they've shown Newcastle is fantastic. And I would encourage any Saudi fans to watch the team, come over if you can, and just support this club, because it might be difficult at first, it might be very, very depressive, we might get relegated, but in the long term, it's going to be brilliant and we're going to be the best team in the world, I believe. So stick with us, stay patient, and thanks for all of your support.
كانت معنا هولي بليدز المشجع الأشهر في نيوكاسل. أتمنى تكون الحلقة أعجبتكم، ومعليش حاولت والله أجاوب جميع الأسئلة بس الكومنتات إن شاء الله يعني طبعا جتنا مشكلة في البداية في الإنترنت، لكن إيش نسوي؟ إن شاء الله تنحل يعني. نتمنى إن شاء الله تكونوا استمتعتوا بالحلقة، وراح نترجم أهم البارت أو أهم المقاطع اللي هو تكلمت فيها، المواضيع المهمة والأخبار الحصرية اللي قالتها لنا بخصوص نادي نيوكاسل. نراكم إن شاء الله بخير. Away the lads.
Away the lads.
Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I'm the best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best. Yes, it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the river Tyne.
بالنسبه لما يجيك ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين،
Excuse me,
اللاعبين
وليد.
اللي في النص.
What is your VPN?
My VPN.
Yes.
My VPN is Spider VPN.
Exposed.